Hello, 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 hello. My name is Kevin. We are Dirty 20 Gaming, and this is Saturday night, Saturday afternoon in some places. And that means that it is time for our away team game, our Star Trek Adventures quick start guide version of an adventure in that universe. Except our party has found themselves without the vast majority of the goodies that go with living in that time and space. But we will get to that in a couple of minutes because first we have to introduce the system and the game and the people, and let's just do it. First of all, the reason that this looks so good is twofold. Well, threefold. Our amazing fizzes looking at you, smiley versions. Hello. Uh, all different versions of reality being presented to this evening. Also, Hero Forge for the character art tokens that you see on the overlay, plus one of the actual character arts that you see in the character screen. That's all from Hero Forge, the three-dimensional renderings of the characters done there. Also, the background art for the overlay is from Pixabay, and all the little filigrees and bits around the corners and whatnot of the screens are that as well. Our tabletop of choice this evening is Astral Tabletop. You can see them at astraltabletop.com. This is not a paid ad, but they are amazing, and oh, their stuff is pretty. With that, that's the technicals. Oh, except for one more. We're playing, as I mentioned earlier, the Star Trek Quick Start Guide. You can find everything you need to do the first sort of most of one session that we did was actually from the Quick Start Guide that is included in Astral Tabletop for free to give you an idea of how well the systems work, and I just built it out from there. With the help of these wonderful people. These wonderful people are, in no particular order, Lanny, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being with us. You have had a productive week off screen, I know, so tell us what you're up to.
Well, some of the usual. Still, keeping up my writing schedule. Got another 2 chapters out since we last talked. And it's getting closer to the end of when the second book is finally going to be done. So that's all fun and hunky-dory. Otherwise, just generally basic life.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for taking time away from life to come and join us in a false life here. There's no segue from that doesn't make this next guy sound like a robot. Bison, how you doing? Thank you for joining us this evening. There was a restream the other night. What are you doing? How's that working out?
It's working all right. I'm playing. Been playing Outriders on Monday nights. It's a fun game. I found a buddy of mine that actually is playing it. We had a good long session Monday, which is why I didn't stream it. And we stopped at like 4 a.m, and he lives on the East Coast.
Oh yeah, so yeah. When the sun comes in the window, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah. So been having a lot of fun. Got my first legendary that I actually want to use. So having a gun that shoots lightning has been a highlight of the week.
Well, there you go. Now you got something worth streaming. We'll see. You see you next Monday. Mm-hmm. And that leaves us with Hellhounds 20 playing Gyro Forest this evening. I left you for last so I can have a drink of my coffee while you explain your ridiculously busy week to us.
Go. Busy is not. Oh, I don't even have words for that. Yeah, busy, very busy. Doesn't matter where you find me. Here on Twitch, I'm called Hellhounds20. I'm an artist. I'm a DM, most importantly, because it's most of my life now.
Yep.
Let's see. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I am DMing a game. I plan to DM a learning game on Friday. Eventually, we're working on that. A lot of them are not even in the state.
Mm-hmm.
I play in 2 games. I run a podcast. I am busy.
Oh man!
And I want to make another campaign now.
Of course. I have so many that it would take 4 of me to run them all. Thank you for taking time out of all of that, and we will quickly get you into this one so we can get to playing and not have to worry about all that GM and stuff that you have to do elsewhere. But real quick note from me. We didn't have a show last night. We had some technical issues and it didn't happen. Tomorrow night, normally on Sundays, we do 1866, but we have made an executive decision. And tomorrow we are going to take that same group with one addition. We are going to off-screen, because nobody wants to watch character creation. We're going to make some D&D 5e characters. Yes, you heard it. We're going to do D&D here on this channel for the first time in a while. And starting next Sunday, they will be running through Storm King's Thunder from level 5 to level 15. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking very much forward to running somebody else's campaigns. I can't keep my hands off stuff. I'm looking forward to see what I do to it. So, but with that, so no show tomorrow night, but there is a show tonight. And that is because our 3 are trapped. There's no other word for it now. They are trapped. And they are stuck on a planet in the middle of the neutral zone. There's a Romulan presence here, or at least there was. There's hints of maybe other people, or rumors at least of other races being in the neighborhood. But right now your problems are considerably more personal, private, and in your face than that. You solved one problem. You apparently passed the first test, if the message you got makes sense to you. But in doing so, you triggered an even larger field to be generated by another place on this planetary surface that has caused your ship to flee in the electronic equivalent of self-defense. So you are now alone on this planet like you have probably never been alone before in your Starfleet careers. To top it all off, your phasers don't work anymore, and your tricorders have less functionality than the cell phones that are sitting in most of your actual people's pockets right now. You have a vague idea of what direction the next signal is in. You just spent the night in a hole in the ground in an artificial crater covered by a big electrical Tupperware lid with a bunch of new life. And in the morning, your little Starfleet inner alarm goes off. Ping, time to get up. What's the first thing that you do?
Well,
Well-
as usual, Pete never slept.
Yes.
Same.
He just doesn't. So
What did you do all night then?
Poking and prodding. For the first time since they got here, Pete's been confronted with a piece of technology he doesn't understand.
Yes.
And for a Trill, that's especially weird.
Mhm.
So he's been looking for loose screws. He's partially disassembled his lightsaber. Wow. Tricorder. Wrong verse. Yeah.
Speaking of being in the wrong world,
Right? And so he's
Use
partially
the Force, Pete. Wait, no, wrong movie.
wrong movie. Oh crap. Well, I do have ghosts talking to me, so that explains a
Yeah.
little bit of the confusion. So yeah, he's partially disassembled his tricorder at this point. He's trying to pull back bulkheads, seeing if he can just get to anything that might give him a better idea of what we're looking at.
Give me, and I know this is not how the rules work, and I don't even know if it'll let you do it. Give me just reason. There's a reason for that. Will it let you do that?
Womp
I don't even
womp.
know if it will. Just
see.
like
it does not let
Unclick.
you deselect. Nope.
No,
Oh, it
I can
does.
deselect.
It does,
Roll
yeah.
tabs.
Let's see what it says. No, this one.
it did it anyway. Perfect.
Yeah,
That's
very
exactly.
nice.
That's exactly what I wanted. Attribute plus disciplines. Your reason is 12, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, no discipline selected, so it did it. Perfect. And you rolled a 9, so you managed to get under that anyway. You learned one success. That's all you were ever going to get, no matter how many successes you rolled. This is freaking alien. This works like there's no connections. There's no way for power to get from here to there. It makes no sense.
Pull it back. Well, that's a little different.
Mm-hmm. And it's all like the ultimate solid state. It's just bricks. Like you said you pulled the bulkhead back. There's just like 4 different sized bricks mounted on a wall, and somehow that's running everything.
Yeah, and I don't have.
But with
any
all
way
your
to-
experience and all your science and engineering, there's nothing out of this. This is completely unknown. And 4 lifetimes of trolls are going, got nothing, got nothing, got nothing, and got nothing.
Yeah. So he's sitting there. He's looking like, well, from my professional opinion, I have no idea what's going on.
Gyro, you piped up?
Gyro didn't sleep either.
Yep, makes sense.
They've been staying up all night trying to keep themselves under control.
Yep.
And trying to think of what we can do next and not really making very much headway because they noticed what Pete is doing.
Yep.
And have kind of leaned over while still shaking to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And once they saw the bricks, they just leaned back to where they were.
Yep.
And
And-
continued trying to problem solve this.
And all night long there's those little things. So at that moment you kind of lean over and you swear you hear a noise in your hip. When you come back, it's not there. But it's when you turn your eyes and you see like one leg's a little bit behind the other. There's just these tiny little. Maybe it's just you, or maybe not. All night.
How
Well,
much of this
Gyro
is
would be doing the thing I
psychosomatic?
do. I start to wave my hand slowly in front of me, see how quickly it moves in my vision.
Yep.
And if I see like an after image, I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's not to that point yet, but it's like the resolution is dropping. Like when you go like that, it's not blurred. There's no after image like there is because of my webcam. There isn't that, but there's an effect like it's getting a little bit blocky, like the processing.
taking
the
extra
CPU,
time to process.
Yeah, it's taking exactly. Yeah, it's just a little bit.
There's a texture.
Everything's just a little bit off, but again, just like so little that maybe it's you. Anything
What's
else
your
you wanted to
hand?
accomplish during the evening?
Sees the rest of the hand.
I think for the most part, Gyro is just trying to internally problem solve things.
What's next?
Like
'Cause
they
you are
know
now-
where
you
we
are
need to
the
go.
leader
Like
now. Yeah.
they know that we need to go to this next place. Not gonna not be specific as to where we need to go.
Yeah.
As in the direction. They just know that we need to go somewhere.
Yes. You're also missing one of your crew.
Yeah. Gotta find them.
Mhm. And they knew where you were going, and they did not show up during the night.
And we didn't hear any screaming, so
Nope. No, you did not. As far as you know, they're a sentient being and could walk through that screen. Sorry, Nick. That was rude. Sky.
I mean, Gyro was listening out for someone to go concerning.
Yeah.
that's officially his go-to phrase.
Yep. And thank you for reminding me. Sky. Nobody else slept. You
Yeah.
you spent a
Thank
large
you for
part of
bringing that
yesterday
up.
absolutely freaking terrified.
Yep.
First question, did you sleep?
Well, you were starting off quite well. I'm just listening through. It's like, yeah, could anyone else imagine how it would be to be around people who just simply are like doing the
Just-
nocturnal thing while themselves being terrified? How much sleep you getting? Yeah.
So yeah.
It doesn't matter how normal she
Yeah.
is.
At some
Well,
point, I'm
one-
expecting Sky to go, "How are you okay through all this?"
Well, Well, you have to consider too. We've talked about it. There is a slight bit of, well, this feels mythological from her people, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not like she'd like the myths of her people.
No.
So those are kind of scary, and that's just nightmare fuel in essence. And everything here is generally just nightmare fuel of mythological stuff
So
that
yeah,
doesn't
every-
appeal to her scientific sense.
everywhere you
And-
look, it's coming in on you. The world is just impinging.
And
You're
everything is just
losing
going
your
wrong.
self-control.
And
So
she has a lot of concerns that things will keep going wrong for reasons you're familiar with.
yeah,
And so yeah, she might have taken some time to relax.
rest. Yeah,
Ish.
Yeah.
To-
curl
to-
up in a
to-
corner. Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
shuddering, trying to get
Yeah.
a few winks, and
At
then
some
up.
point, fatigue takes over.
I was gonna say, eventually, after the terrifying day that you had yesterday, eventually you sort of fall into what the writers love to call a fitful slumber.
It wouldn't have lasted long.
Not at all. And you pop awake. So it's you waking in the morning then that triggers my initial sentence. Now that we've gotten correct the correct backstories.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know,
think there's an alarm that
inside,
woke us up at all.
no, inside you know it's dawn at the academy, and you are so triggered to wake up at dawn at the academy that no matter where you are in the universe, you just woke up from your fitful slumber, your self-diagnosis, and you're pondering the imponderable.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
she's probably in the midst of looking around at stuff, probably drawing designs on the wall, because honestly, it seems more fitting now than ever.
The split second you start drawing on the wall, the ground shakes.
Well, that's going to really
It's
raise your confidence.
completely subsonic. It's only 10 to 12 seconds later that you hear.
Could
Couple
we
seconds
feel
after
any-
that, the ground shakes again. And again. Again.
Uh,
And then about 8 seconds later, it's getting closer.
We're in a shelter that doesn't shake no matter what you do to it,
And it just
and we're
shook.
feeling okay.
and we're all hearing this?
All of you. It is absolutely shaking the surface of this planet is with each one of these impacts.
The very first one, Pete was not ready for, and he hits his head
Yep.
on.
Oh, jeez.
Just son of a.
Yeah.
Oh,
Considering
Oh.
you said Sky was drawing on the wall,
The
And then
split
that
second
happened?
you touched it, boom, the first one hits. Yeah. What do you do?
it was like
Actually, let's start with Sky. The first one hits. Boom.
yeah. So first off, she's terrified of whatever she was about to draw on the wall. It's like
That wasn't
I
me.
don't want to touch
8,
again.
9, 10. The sound or the sound.
Obviously, as she backs away, and then the next one comes, it's like, okay,
And then
obviously I didn't cause that.
through the floor
but
again. Yeah, as you step
she
back.
she will, of all oddity, I've calmed down for the second one because it's I didn't cause that.
Well, there's about this much drawing on the wall.
Wait, what pattern she left stayed there?
Just the first little bit that you did, you can see.
Oi, yeah.
and then like the skips from wind,
And then,
the
and
red
then,
light vibration.
Yeah. So there's a lot of fear about the wall right now.
Yep.
She's in the middle of the room.
So you're focused. You're in the middle of the room, but you're staring. I'm assuming at what you've
Yep.
done.
Yep.
Okay. Absolutely. Gyro, I saw your. I like Zoom because as soon as somebody clears their clears their throat, I can see them flash, and I know they want to say something. So, Gyro, what do you do when that first bang hits?
So Gyro felt like the subsonic rumble.
Yes.
They simply look up at the ceiling as things start to crash. They're unnervingly calm.
Yep.
They go, Okay, before those booms, I think those creatures outside are making that noise. And then they look at the others. I believe we remember on that pearl that we got of silver, that lid up there protects this place from rocks.
And that's when the set of 3 hits, the subsonics. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep, that confirms it right there. Those
Couple
creatures
seconds
are
later.
communicating. There's something going on. Oh. Those creatures know how many are going to hit. They're counting them. Okay.
Interesting idea.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That's where you get to by that point. Pete. Just that subsonic vibration. Yeah.
Hits his head,
Yeah.
pulls himself out from under what he was working on, sees Sky in the middle of the room,
Yeah.
sees Gyro thinking, and I'm assuming a little bit of a smirk once they realize that they're right,
And
or
then,
at least there's,
They're straight faced, but they're saying all of this out loud.
yeah.
Mhm. And then
Hey, Chief, do you want me to go take a look?
Well, the lid
As
up
he's
there
rubbing his
protects
nose.
this place, so might as well.
Pete's gonna,
At the word protects this place, she's going to involuntarily shudder.
yeah.
yeah, and it's like, as he's on his way out, Pete looks over at what Sky drew. He's like, needs a little bit more color. He sticks his head out.
And so you have to, like, because remember there was kind of like a space, but yeah, you get
Oh,
to
there
the
was an
door.
actual space, yeah.
Yeah, it's easy enough. I mean, you sort of get to the door and look out. As you're walking down the hall, there's another series of 3. This is only a 6-second delay. As you get to the door and you open it and you look up and out, you can see vapor trails in the sky. This is somebody bombarding this planet from space. You very
That was
quickly
what I
figure
was
out this has got to be dumb rounds. Like, this isn't smart bombs. This is literally dropping explosive rocks and letting them re-enter and fall and land. This is old school artillery, because nothing more complicated than that will work.
Mm-hmm. So
And it's whoever it is just walking a line directly towards you. You can hardly see gaps in the vapor trails. You realize they're all in a row coming towards you, each one slightly wider than the one behind it.
okay. So they haven't struck the dome yet.
No, not yet.
Okay.
But as you open that door, the 4th set, and again, you feel the vibration. This is now about 4 seconds. You realize that gap is the difference between the actual vibration of the impact and the sound getting to you from the point of explosion. It's like lightning. You see it before you hear it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it is walking towards you, each one 2 seconds less than the one before.
Okay.
You've got 2 shots left before they're on this target.
I am not. I don't have a trill with that kind of related combat experience, but my my metagaming is telling me those are mortar rounds.
No, well, your engineer would be telling you these are actually fired from beyond orbit. Like, your ship was chased away from orbit. Something from outside that safe range is firing things at this planet and using gravity to use it as artillery. They are absolutely positively hunting you or this place.
I sprint back because this is a bunker, and B, clearly a lot higher tech than what's about to hit us, if it hits us.
And C, we don't want to lose our hearing.
Yeah, we don't want to lose our hearing. Yeah, there's
You
that too.
slam the door and run back inside. What do you tell them? Well, I give you a second to think of that. I want to get them caught up because they're actually slightly behind in time. So your engineer buggers off down the hall. A couple seconds later, you see a light from where the door opens. You feel 3 more vibrations, only a shorter gap this time, and you hear the and then he starts running back towards you.
Oh,
What did you
sorry, I
guys do
meant to-
during that?
I meant to ask,
Yeah.
but I forgot. How are the wildlife taking it? Because obviously
very-
I have.
Yeah, you have a look around. Everything is watching it.
Okay.
Like you imagine
It's
the
not like-
dinosaurs probably watched the last asteroid. Say, oh, don't know
Well,
what
there's
that
two
is.
responses. You can watch it or you can flee from it.
Yeah, like they're not. They're more. They seem to be more confused than panicked.
Yep. Yeah, they literally do not know what this is. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just
Mhm.
the ground's
It's just
shaking and there's
noise.
noises. So
Yeah.
and flashing lights in the sky.
The Woompers are probably trying to talk back.
So yes, your engineer bursts back in and says,
Somebody's trying to bomb us, boys. I don't know what's going on, but they're coming closer.
Oh.
So sky's pale. You're trying to say something, it's not coming out.
Yeah, he kind of comes to a skid stop when he comes in, because at this point he knows that they're coming closer, and he's like, we don't have anything to barricade this door up with. The best we can hope for is we don't even have anything to hide behind, really, do we? It's kind of a round open room.
it's kind of an open space. Yeah, I mean, there's control panels and whatnot you could get behind. As you start to think that, you feel the next 3 vibrations, except these 3 are like you, for the first time, you have to concentrate to stay vertical. These are close. The dust comes from the cracks in the building around you and starts to fall. Some of the
Just a quick
consoles
tip.
move slightly on the floors. The doors blow open in the blast.
Yeah, if
And
she has to
coming down
concentrate-
the...
if she has to concentrate to stay vertical, she's not.
Okay.
Uh,
So you're on your butt. So you see it from a
Yep.
slightly different angle. Those doors blow open and parts of branches and bits of twigs and trees come flying down the hallway towards you guys. The round got through. It hit the
I-
forest. Yes, Gyro. Back me up as far as you need to.
After he said we don't have anything to barricade the doors, Gyro would have gently pushed him behind them and closed the doors and leaned against it,
Okay.
putting all of their weight into it and just
Okay.
stabilizing himself.
Perfect. Okay. So we got, I
Seeing-
was going to ask Sky what they were doing, but they're sitting on the floor. So, yeah. Pete?
If Pete sees Gyro doing that, being engineers always do things together, so he just
So give me
still not really sure still doesn't really know that Gyro's an android, so he's
Yeah.
just like, well, if you think this is going to help us.
so fitness and security, unless you can convince me otherwise.
So, by the way, nobody
Yeah.
spilled that she's an android, or that
Not
Gyro's
not technically
android.
yet. No, that was a little table conversation. Yeah.
I don't know if survival would work in this.
I'm just thinking security because they teach, they teach people, they teach bouncers how to block doors.
Right.
So yeah, fitness would be your physical strength pushing against it, and the security is the correct place to put that pressure. I think it makes sense to me. So, wow, 4 successes between the 2 of you. Yeah.
Gyro just does it all by themselves.
Basically all by themselves, yeah. Gyro, well, Pete, you sort of lean on one door. Gyro, you step up and put a hand on both doors and just sort of lean in and try and make a triangle brace against the doors. So, it works like that, right? It's a very strong way to hold a door. A policeman told me that once. But, between the 2 of you, you keep the doors from flying open, like I said. They bow A little bit of foliage and branches come underneath, and you guys force them back as the blast wave passes. You get the same knowledge. At least one of those came through the screen and hit the forest. You slam the doors before you hear or see anything else from outside.
So, out of instinct, also, because she would have at least managed to recover from the
Oh, yeah.
floor.
Yep.
She's going to go to see if there's any kind of equipment failure at this point. Does the equipment have any reaction to what's going on, especially
Good.
considering how familiar this scene is to her?
Good question. The equipment in this room is continuing to function perfectly. However, the room itself is not. You cannot say the same for the room itself. Give me reason and science.
Any form of focus that could work, including like quantum mechanics or subspace physics?
Quantum mechanics, maybe.
Sure.
It's
Yeah, go ahead.
super
Roll with
advanced.
focus. Yeah, why not? In a very weird way. 2 successes. Okay. And actually,
with
that's
focus.
yeah. So
4.
that's actually 4 successes. Yeah, it's not doing that right. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. You have to hover it. But anyway, 4 successes is enough to figure out pretty much the full story. The control panel that you guys worked on, the monitor that you saw, is far more than just a monitor. The control panel is far more than just a control panel. That hardware is going to survive no matter what happens. You could literally drop a mountain on it. It's still going to continue to function. None of you are, though. And this this room is showing signs of starting to collapse.
Ooh. All
By
right.
Meanwhile,
this point,
Gyro
if
and
there was-
Pete,
Ooh.
you're sort of sitting there you're having that conversation by the door,
Hmm.
and you're in your heads, you're kind of counting, like there's been a consistent gap. You're due any moment for the next 3 rounds.
I was gonna say, like, what do you say, Chief? We leg it?
I'm looking around the room, seeing how I start to I just shake my head. This place is not going to stay standing. We need to get out of
Yes.
here.
That bulkhead that's open, you can, again, like one of the 4 boxes that Pete found has fallen off the wall. It's sitting on the floor. It's still running because everything's still operating, but the bulkhead itself is buckled under the strain of all these explosions.
Does that
Oh.
mean it's detached?
It is technically detached, yes.
Okay, recover that, and I'm out the door. Part of what I'm going to do.
The second you touch it,
Okay.
I need a
I was gonna try and actually, retrieve the block before we left.
that's-
See if it was.
well, it was both of you that were going to try that then?
Yeah, I was
You got
gonna
that block?
try to
Okay.
retrieve the block, and
Then
'cause
both
I've
of
been
you,
working with I've been working with it all night.
yeah.
And I'm thinking, if we can get this thing off the planet, holy crap, I'm in for a fucking commission.
Yeah.
B, this is something none of us have ever seen before. Like, we don't know
Yeah.
if it's a key, if it's a possible key for the next room
Yep.
or whatever.
Also, yes.
So that's actually Pete's general idea is this thing going to be useful for the next stage if these are tests?
Yeah.
Gyro is just
You-
watching this and looking sad because they remembered the warning about the field. Nothing can leave.
Oh, except
And
the
he's
fact
just-
that this is
so
part
as-
of the field.
As they're just about ready to bag it up, I'm expecting Gyro to say something that is like, "Oh,
Like, they don't want you to be sad, so they go, I'm sorry, Peep. I don't think we can take that. The field won't allow it, remember? Unless you eat it.
I don't
Don't
think that
do
looks
it.
that- I was
Don't
just
do
like-
it.
he's
Don't
just
do
like,
it.
It doesn't look that
Guy
tasty
is going
there,
to
Chief."
mention that. You mean the same field that is letting mortars through?
Yeah.
Now Gyro looks confused and curious. Grab it if
Worst-
you want to. We need to get out of here.
Worst
It's
case
obviously
scenario, we
something
drop
which-
it.
Yeah,
Worst
if
case
it doesn't
scenario,
go
we
through the
drop it.
barrier, you just let it go.
Yeah.
The two
But
of you
if it
reach for
does-
it, grab it between the two of you, stand up, and the doors blast open. It's just white light. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything. Every sense you have is overwhelmed. 3 trills in Pete's head go, not again.
Oh, shit.
You might be forgetting too that Sky has had a similar scenario to this and is getting flashbacks herself.
Oh, there's no time for flashbacks.
Yeah.
Oh no, obviously she's not living in
Yeah.
the past. She's
It's
just reliving it.
You're
I guess
still,
I'm no longer holding the door.
There was too much. If you were holding that, I assumed
Yeah.
that you had turned to talk to Pete. The 3 of you kind of come back. I mean, you were at the center of a equivalent of a nuclear explosion. 3 of them.
Oh.
Boom, boom, boom. You come to, curled around that little box in a sphere. The box glowing slightly, just enough for you to realize that sphere is rubble.
Oh, jeez.
You say that you don't hear a thing.
Well, yeah, I'd assume
It's
not.
just yeah, your ears are gone. The only reason you can see is because what you see is from an out of character position, what you see is a dim light coming off this block is actually really bright because your eyes have just been completely dazzled by this explosion. So to be able to see it all, it's having to pour out a huge amount of light. But to you, it looks very dim, just enough to show you your surroundings.
Ooh.
Yeah, again, this is stupidly familiar.
Gyro is just blinking as much as they can to fix their vision.
Yep. It all starts to come back. You can hear creaking and groaning amongst the rocks above you and around you.
Yeah, this is too familiar.
Pete's first impulse is to try and push the block and in like just a centimeter, just to see if the field moves with it.
It absolutely does.
Perfect.
So we could literally walk this thing out if we're able to
Yep.
lift. Oh my
There's
gosh.
enough space in here to figure out. I mean, you guys are on this sphere is sort of 3 meters across. And so it's easy enough you're standing at the bottom, or laying at the bottom of it. You know which way up is. So yeah, Pete, you just reach over and grab this thing and go, and the whole room just lifts up like 5,
Oh,
6
does it need
centimeters.
2 hands to lift?
No, I
It's a
just
pretty
did that
big-
for effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sort of it's to be honest, what I built it on was my computer case sitting there. It's about that
That's
size.
about the size I was thinking.
Yeah.
About the rough,
So,
roughly
yeah,
the size of a solid state hard drive.
And you kind of
Obviously, then Sky will leave someone who has 2 hands to deal with that.
Yep.
Hey, my picture in the guide is literally a Trill holding a big like tube thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what Pete does. He just sort of adjusts it so it's like a comfortable, carrying position.
And just start working
And-
your way up.
Yeah,
Makes
just sort
perfect
of
sense. Yeah.
slowly standing, just in case I actually have to like try to lift it.
That's kind of why I figured if it was me doing it, it would be like, do I have to push the rock? I better give it I better push
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
to make sure. Like I wouldn't want to go, oh, it doesn't work, and then have somebody else go, you just had to push, you ass.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, you give her. So yeah, and you kind of overcompensate there. It's like it's massless. You kind of whoa. Like it has weight, but it takes no extra effort to lift it
Yeah.
than it would when
Okay.
you're not pushing the rock. You're just pushing the thing.
So
You're picking up a GameCube.
yeah, and I've got a big bubble shield here. So, which way do you think we should go, guys? Does anybody remember which way the door was?
The navigator will remark upon her knowledge of the surroundings. It's something she has seriously been contemplating this entire time. And will
Absolutely.
pull her knowledge.
Wonderful. Thank you. Give me.
Probably the direction behind Gyro because they were up against the door.
Well, you guys were all kind of blown across the room, so you got a rough idea. But I would like. We're not going to use reason this time. We're going to use control, because this is not so much about your ability to do
That's even
something.
better.
This is about your ability to get a grip and do something that you know how to do very well. So give me control and con.
With obviously focus.
With focus, absolutely.
Boom.
2 successes.
No.
4 successes. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. You you talked earlier about this feeling like one of your myths. And at the second you call on your specialty, your ability to navigate, you realize something. If this is a myth, you don't have a choice. You have to succeed. There are no failure myths. And with that, you draw in on yourself and unerringly lead them across the room, around one of the control panels.
One thing that I
Yeah.
would like to add to that, because I've mentioned it, again, she's tracking how this simply feels like a very significant incident that happened to her not that long ago.
Yes, yes.
And she's going to take this as it feels like the same way, but everything kind of went wrong. And now she wants to pretty much make this work out a lot better than it did then. She wants things to
Second
effectively
chance,
make,
you might say. And you grasp that. And you draw on a power inside you that you did not know was there. And you lead them unerringly across the room, around the control panel, down the hall, through the shattered doors, and out into the remains of the jungle. Shattered trees. Dead animals all around. Fires. Chunks of trees sticking out of other chunks of trees sticking out of the ground.
Once we're free, Pete stops, looks down, closes his eyes for a second, looks back up, puts the block down, and they make their way over to one of the whoopers. Comes, just sort of realizes that they've passed, and all that stuff. They close their eyes and say a quick prayer in Trill, and it's an old version of Trill. It's to the point where the translator probe or nano machines or whatever that every Starfleet officer has doesn't even pick it up. Like it's just a mumble jumble of what sounds like Latin in reverse spoken by an elf. And it's a funeral rite because these animals didn't deserve it. And the Trill are actually really, really religious.
yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
You might also recall that Sky has a background that really matches kind of close to this. And if she's still drawing upon that past incident, it's still there's a lot of people that died in yet another accident.
Yep.
So she's probably not far behind Pete. And she's drawing a nice little symbol on the ground
Mhm.
in pretty much the same goal. And given, its history,
Yeah.
there's absolutely nobody that's going to figure out what she's drawing on the ground.
No, there is not. Not from that. However, Pete, you have one of those moments where you realize what you're doing because you hear somebody singing that right, and then you realize it's you. And then you realize it's a duet. And the box is singing with you.
His voice catches for just a brief second. I'm pulling up before.
And the box fills the gap.
Yeah.
Like a good choir member would if you cough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then continues on singing with you.
Sky's going to slow down her symbol writing to catch this.
Yeah.
She's not going to stop, but it's like,
Yeah. At the end, Pete was like, that dirge is 1,200 years old. It hasn't been spoken off of Trill in well over 1,000 years. Have you been listening to my iPod? Says that to the block.
As you look down and make that flippant remark, I get it. That's such a Canadian thing. Like, I'm freaked right out. Let me make a joke, right? A number flicks on the side of it. Just but you're an engineer, right? You read blocks of numbers as a single entity, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a mathematical proof that song is much, much older than that. The Trill learned it from somebody.
Inside of Pete's head is an argument. 4 generations of Trill are super mad at the first, who isn't saying a thing.
Yep. I love it. Gyro, it's been a while. How do you respond to this when you come out of that tunnel and into the wreckage? Not everything's dead, but a lot is.
Gyro is looking around. They're a little peeved by this because, like, it's new life, and now it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously not all of it, but it's just gone like that. And they look out to where, they look out towards where I guess like the vapor trails used to be.
Yep,
they can still see
like airplane vapor trails. They're just slowly drifting across the sky, being torn apart by the high altitude winds.
And their eyes kind of narrow at this. Like, this is not Federation. This is definitely not Federation. Not when there are fellow crew members down here.
As if to back that up, you see another vapor trail start to form. It's coming right almost towards you. Not quite, but close. It's probably going to land within a couple kilometers, and then boom, it starts to slow and a parachute comes out. The parachute is pale blue and white. Federation colors. Look at the other trails, they are not the same.
I'm going to look at the other two. I'm going to respectfully wait for them to finish their little funeral rite stuff. And when they get up and start to walk towards Gyro's going to point out the parachute. And go, the other trails are not Federation. But that is.
How close is it? Like, I guess now that we're out of the crater, we have a better idea of where we are.
Well, you're out of the building. You're still in the crater. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
We have a better orientation,
yeah,
more or less. Is that going to land anywhere near to where we need to go?
It looks like it's going to. It looks like whoever did this sent it at the same area as the attack was. Mm-hmm. So it's going to land within about a kilometer of you on the way you came in. Like the same way you came in, that's the direction it's coming from. or that it's going to land. So,
Okay.
We have to not forget that this is technically considered neutral for anyone who's not here. So whoever did that has no regards for neutrality.
Not only that, the Federation wouldn't fire on a planet knowing that its
There's no way.
fellows are there.
there's absolutely no way that that's Federation.
Yeah.
That means whoever did that has an aggression towards any form of the Alliance.
That
Yeah, it's-
and the fact that you've already met some Romulans on this planet
Mhm.
points a big investigatively important finger in a very bad direction. What this
So-
implies, I'll give you some Star Trek lore here, essentially, or make up for that. What it implies is that somewhere outside of orbit, but fairly nearby, is a battleship-sized Romulan bird of prey that's interested in wiping you off the surface of this planet.
Mhm.
But how did it know where we were? Interesting.
I don't think they would. Otherwise, there would have been more than there would have been no more than just one.
I would just be like, maybe they're just looking for life signs and just bombing that, and they're just really, really bad aim because those were free fall bombs.
So at this point, she's going to consider her angles and navigation and ponder: did that bombing actually occur where the ship had been wreckage? Had that line crossed there, or was that not?
No, it was not. No. This would appear as though they basically looked through a telescope at a planet and went, shoot at the green spot. Because that's all that they can do from this range, right? And that's basically what they did, is they hurled mass. There wasn't even, weapons don't work. None of your weapons work.
Mm-hmm.
They were just chucking mass at you, and it's coming in at orbital speeds, and that makes huge explosions.
Yeah, so they wouldn't.
Now
have
Gyro's
even-
concerned about that colony.
That's what I just questioned. The colony
Yeah.
is apparently fine.
From this particular barrage, yes.
All right. I'm gonna look at the other two. Do we want to go investigate that parachute?
Federation colors, Chief. Worst case scenario, we might have to beat up some Romulans for supplies.
Best case scenario,
Best
we
case
have new
scenario,
equipment.
we have mechanical equipment we can use.
Yeah.
Because this looks like a supply drop.
Exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be standard procedure, emergency supply drop. They've had to rig up a parachute and a dummy capsule, because normally they would just, transport it down, but
Yeah. Her concern is going to be right around that area because, again, this is an electrical anomaly. And those words means a lot to her.
yes.
So that stuff was not teleported down. And
Nope.
they have seen a lot of, if it's not getting teleported down, it's not doing well. So she's pretty worried about the condition that stuff's going to show up in. It may not be safe.
Pete, give me insight and engineering. Gyro, give me reason and science.
The classic.
And Sky, give me give me insight and security. We'll do that to cover your paranoia.
Well, I always have to mention, is this a focus?
In this case, no. This is
Okay.
this is a sheer sort of internal thing.
That
Yes,
seems to be like the three questions: which
Yeah.
attribute, which discipline, and is there focus?
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly what you need to know until you do damage, and then you roll number of shields. But that's below that. That's challenge days. Perfect. I'm going to do these in order. Gyro. You're looking around at the wreckage, the mayhem, all this damage, and something strikes you. It's almost like mile markers on a Roman fence or a Roman wall. Remember the quaint bushes?
Yeah.
You look around, none of them have taken any damage. There's not a leaf out of place. Nothing. Sky. You turn around and look, and you notice you don't. You kind of see where Gyro is looking. You look around and you see as well that some of them they've not some of them they've it looks like the bush has hunkered down. Like that little door that was there before is gone. You can see the little paths that go up to them, but then it's like the whole bush just went boom and got smaller and looks much more difficult to get into. And Pete, some of them have moved. Like to get to higher ground or to provide better vision of the ones around them. Some of these
That one wasn't
bushes
there before.
have moved.
Either these bushes are artificial or they're an actual creature. Huh.
The one nearest to you kind of, you know those frogs that you stick to the counter and like, it kind of does
Yeah.
that, but it only does it like about 10 centimeters. It just goes, like it comes unstuck from the ground and the little door opens up and you can, and then you look around and you watch them all go.
Yeah.
Peach
These
is like,
creatures getting
huh.
more and more concerning.
So Sky is practically like crossing her arms on the whole. Yeah.
Well,
I
crossing
knew
one
something
arm.
was wrong. Yeah.
Sorry.
I know. I said
I did the wrong one.
practically
It's got to
for a
be your left
reason.
arm, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a magnet mounted up here too.
Clang.
We did mention that I could do that.
Yep.
It is more to the side though. It still
Yeah.
works for crossing. Just
But
put
that
the arm
is-
there and then cross the other arm.
In the midst of all this wreckage, that's what you see. Completely undamaged quaint bushes that apparently went into lockdown and have now recovered.
Gyro is gonna walk up to one and see if they can pluck a leaf off of one of these bushes.
As
Are
you step up to,
positive these things aren't sentient because they are like the smartest things on this planet?
as you walk up and reach for a bit of the shrubbery, a quaint comes out of the gate, looks up at you and goes,
He's gonna pluck the leaf.
you pull the leaf and it feels for all the world like a leaf. Like you can feel like you could crush it between your fingers. You can feel that sort of growing sensation. It's even slightly fuzzy. When you pull, it's like it pulls back. It's like you grabbed somebody's arm hair and tried to pull it out and they went, no. Something inside them, the muscle went, no. It actively pulls the leaf back.
I mean, Gyro is pretty strong
Yep.
in their own right.
Mm-hmm. You want to give it another pull?
Yeah.
Okay, give me what, fitness and security, I think.
Okay.
One success. Okay. Yeah. You brace yourself and pull again, and it comes this time about this far, and a little quaint beak and one eye kind of come out of the bush. You see the beak grab the stem and start pulling back. And you just hear it trying to pull this out of your fingers.
Yeah, Sky is definitely all like, are you sure these are the dumbest things on the planet?
While it's pulling that, my arm is gonna reach around and try and pull a different leaf.
You pull a different one.
Oh,
That
'cause
one
some
comes
people have
out with
two
a
arms.
with a quaint on it too.
So while this is going on, though, Sky does have one arm at least.
Yep.
She's. I expect there's a lot of incline to this area. So what could be a fun little thing to do is find a nicely rounded stone, go to an area of higher elevation, and play bowling.
Yeah, I'm trying to roll it down into one of these bushes.
Yeah.
Gyro shouldn't be
Absolutely.
amused, but they're amused.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a crater. We said that. That is established. Easy to do. You find a roundish rock, you climb up a little embankment above it, and just, I mean, you wouldn't even have to. You could flat ground bowl it if you wanted to. But either way, there is a bit of an embankment. You roll it down, it goes into the bush, disappears. It does not come out the other side of the bush. You don't hear anything. It just goes in and gone.
I am gonna let go of the leaves finally.
Yeah.
Just pat
And
the bush, pat it, just like
Like
just gonna
watching a
pat it,
bird
like
fix
okay.
its nest, they kind of put the leaf exactly back where it was and then disappear back inside through the foliage. And
So-
very, very slowly, the bush starts to move away from you. Like so slow you can hardly tell.
Since, all right, since the owner of our engineers now back to paying attention.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we have discovered that the stupid birds, as they were called before, are totally not being stupid.
Oh,
They're quaint.
they're quaint.
The-
Yes. Yeah, they protect their bush. Their bush is tougher than it looks, and it's now moving. As Gyro tried to
phrasing.
pull a couple of the leaves off.
I was
I'm
letting
gonna
that
test a
slide too.
theory.
Yeah.
Because testing theories is what engineers do.
I
Yes.
played bowling.
Yep.
He's
Yeah,
going
you rolled
to,
the rock into it, and it just went in and stopped. Like you've never seen the rock again. It's gone.
Yeah, he's going to still cradling the block,
Yeah.
which he's now named Blocky. I did that while I was
Blocky McBlockface, probably. Yeah.
the Blocky.
Ironically,
Mr.
yeah.
Blocky, sort of walking over to one of the quaint holes to see if it reacts in the same way as it did with the rubble.
Okay. It does not. In fact, I like this. As you approach with Blocky, the little door that the quaints come in and out of
Mhm.
grows taller and wider and rectangular. It's
It's artificial.
exactly the right size for the block to slide in.
Huh.
Sky's going to be there because that's not where she would want the block to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Pete's like, well, that's new.
Well, Jaro's gonna walk over, observe this. Okay, there's something more to this. Please don't put the block in there.
Yeah, no, he's Pete isn't, but he's going to like get a little bit closer, just sort of like to get a good look. And it's like, you guys are way more interesting than I gave you credit for.
As you
Yeah.
lean your head in a little bit closer, the hole changes shape again. Changes from being a rectangle to being exactly the same shape as Pete's head.
Out of character. This hole was made for me.
No.
Some of that still
No.
fits to the idea. Watch this. So-
Sorry, I had to.
Following through even that logic,
Yeah.
Sky
Oh.
is going to, as you know, Pete's at this point kind of just sort of set the thing aside. Sky is going to pick up the block and herself approach the bush to see if it reacts to a human-sized individual.
Okay.
Well,
so
I was
you're
still
doing
holding
that.
the block the whole time. It's just as I peered closer, it
Yeah, as you
changed to
leaned
my
over it,
face.
yeah. As soon as your face got closer than the block, it changed to your face.
Well, does it sound like you had it kind of at least off to the side so she could at least try to pick it up with one hand? If you're going to resist, I guess that stops everything.
That creeps the hell out of Pete.
Yep.
That is like on a scale of 1 to nope.
That's all the way.
Yeah, that's all the way. So he backs up and assumes at some point that it changes back to just a normal quaint hole.
Yep. As soon as you back up, it goes back to the rectangle, and if you pull the cube back or the block back, then it goes back to just a little arch quaint hole.
Is Sky able to take the block from you?
If she asks.
she won't have initially thought to ask, so I guess it's initially a no, but then it will be a, "Hey, can I try something?"
Good God. Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
I've been
Uh,
following that along too already.
Yeah, no, I caught that on now.
Yeah.
Pete does hand it over and is just, as he does, is like, be careful, that's the only one we got.
Oh, I'm
You're
not.
the only pilot we got.
Yeah.
Gyro. As this
Yeah.
conversation is happening and the block is changing hands, you saw what happened.
And when
What
we
do you
look
do?
in, we don't see Quaints at all,
Well, you
but
look.
we know they're in there.
That's just why I came back to you, because I thought that's what I heard you say. You looked inside, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you crouch down and look inside. As you do, it forms a sort of a head-shaped hole that you could stick your head into. And as you get down low and look in, you see the inside is hollow. It's not a tree, like there's not a trunk and branches. It's not an artificial construction, but it's completely hollow in the middle. And it's been built into row after row after row, like an inverted hemisphere, full of little shelves, all made up of little shelves sticking out. And all the way around every one of those, there are hundreds of quaints. And in the center on the floor where the root ball would be, there's a glowing blue light that's just kind of going on the surface that's causing this thing to move. And as you look in, it stops. You hear 1,000 voices in your head say, "Hello."
Gotta compose. Hold up.
And every single quaint in this place is staring at you.
So yeah.
The other two of you are outside looking at Gyro's butt as they
Well-
bend over and look in. No, you were going to try with the block, right? But I just want to give Gyro a chance to react to this.
I guess I could just so like her reaction already sounded close to the reaction. It's the blank
Well,
stare,
let's-
and then
let's,
it's like
let's
while
see.
that's going on.
Gyro, how do you respond to...
So if I say something, can they hear me? Like
You don't
everybody
know?
outside?
Oh, outside? You don't know?
Just in case, Gyro's like hand's gonna reach over, grab something, start tapping Morse code
Yeah,
to tell them what they're seeing.
yeah.
Morse code would be something that every cadet would have had memorized.
absolutely,
by the
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
It-
what
espe-
do you
espe-
what message do you send? I'm interested. What do you tap
It'd
out?
have to be short because otherwise it'll take
I am
forever.
telling the others what I am seeing inside the bush.
Quaints
Yeah,
are
but
smart.
what's your short message?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
quaints are
quaints are
smart.
smart.
What's your short
I'm s-
message?
These bushes are tiny, but there are hundreds of these things in here.
Yep.
There's a small blue light in the middle that is slowly moving this bush, and it stopped the moment I saw it, and I can hear them talking to me in my head.
That's
I
a
am
long
not crazy.
I'm not crazy.
That's a long message. The ending would have been funny.
Yeah. Pete's gonna put down the. Actually, no, he gave it to.
Yeah, you don't have to
Yeah.
block anymore. Yeah.
He's gonna grab each of Gyro's ankles
Yeah.
and just quickly tap on the right one. I got you. I think.
Yeah.
And then I tap. I can tell by the shape of your hand.
Sky. You
Also
stand,
tap.
yeah.
Also, you
So-
have use of both your hands.
So,
Yes.
um,
You got the
practically an
box.
Alice in Wonderland reference here.
Uh,
But we're already playing with myths anyways, so why not? The hole supposedly feels really small, but just how deep can it go?
what is it? What is it you're trying to do? Yeah.
She's going to see if her approach as a full-sized human can make this it's not supposed to go that big suddenly
Right.
become full height open door. She's not
Okay.
going to walk through this door. She's trying to instigate it to be a full-size door.
As you walk close, As you walk closer, you see your head-shaped hole opens up, and then beside it, a hole for Blocky. But that's it.
So I just got a head for me, and then.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay. She's gonna go back and just hand
You
the
back
whole
off
thing
and
back to
bolt
Pete.
those close. Yeah.
Yeah. She'll hand the block back to Pete. That's not what she wanted to have happen.
He
Gyro,
grabs it sort of.
inside you, you hear, "Are you here to save us? It's been a very long time."
I'm going to ask, who are you? Or what are you?
You named us, you know. We are quaint.
Oh God.
Actually, no, pardon me, I take that back slightly. We are quaint. And you notice it's singular.
I'm going to tap out. Hive mind.
That's about as
We're-
rich as her bioweapon reference.
Yeah.
We were sent to save
Someone.
someone. Do you want to be saved?
It is hard. We are small. Individually, we have no power.
How are you able to get out of this barrier?
They're smart enough. I mean, she's not saying that, but I mean that's my quote.
We don't do it. The bushes do.
By the way, every time they make a response, I am tapping out. This is what they say.
Mhm.
Oh,
And yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
well,
you guys, Morse code
Sky's
is
not gonna
fast,
tap
man.
anything.
Morse code is free. You can be really, really quick with Morse code and still understand it. So yeah, I have no
Mhm.
problem with full sentences. But
Sky's
yeah,
not
you guys are
gonna tap
getting
anything.
this, yeah, as little puffs in the dust as you see. Yeah.
Sky won't tap her response, so
Yeah.
Pete's the other one is gonna hear, but it's gonna be like, I thought so.
Pete's kind of just really amused by the whole thing because individually, yeah, they dumb,
Yep.
but this whole hive mind thing is just one of the voices. I'm gonna say it's Maya Sakes. Is like we have more in common than I expected.
Because you're a little hive mind. Yeah, nice.
And as the two of you that are outside start to look around, you see that some of the other quaint bushes are starting to move in that inexorably slow pace towards you. There's nothing menacing about it in any way. They're
Yeah, shuffle, shuffle,
So
shuffle, shuffle.
because we're still playing
It's like
with
watching a starfish.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
because Sky's still in the idea of, okay, we're basically living mythology right now, whatever.
Yep. Yes.
Mythological reference. They had seen a weird silver thing before, and weird silver thing could do 1.5 million different things. There's also a fair chance the owner of it is dead. Is there any degree of being able to find that anywhere?
So you're trying to find some history about.
The
some-
rock that the Whimper gave me, and then I gave back.
The elemental silver
Oh,
girl.
The
There
yes.
we
Oh,
go.
owner
yes.
is
Thank you. Thank
dead.
you. Thank you. Yes. In fact, I just looked down. Yes. This instance, it's different. Inside, Gyro, you see that silver shape on the floor of this. You realize now, that's their communal focus. Right? You're seeing a visual representation of their communal mind in this blue shimmer in the floor. And it says, "Are you this?" And and you see in that shimmer exactly the same shield protecting animal shapes from the attacks from above.
Girl will say, I did not make that. But if you really wish to be saved, we can figure this out.
You can this, and the shield flashes.
Turn it off?
No, be it.
You
Save us.
need a protector. They're asking for you to be a protector, like a shield.
Are you tapping this on Gyro's leg?
I'm wondering if you. Well, I'm wondering if that's the kind of knowledge you would simply have.
No, that's up to Hellhounds.
Yeah.
What you make of that?
Shield.
You're the
You
one
want us to
initiating
protect
first
you.
contact.
Protect
Some
us.
of it make more
Save
sense. when you
us.
see it, so
Like the old ones did. The progenitors.
yeah.
I'm never gonna be able to say that name without it being
I know.
naughty. Just so you know.
I know.
Just so you know.
Well,
I
But I am
fortunately,
tapping
that's,
the responses still.
progenitals myself, so that's how bad that got. So
so
Uh.
I can totally see she's more. Oh, we've got Gyro there doing the Morse code for everything, and then that word was the last thing Kevin said there. So as you get to that, there's suddenly a long pause as Gyro's trying to ponder. Okay, how do you do this again?
So, Gyro, you have had an entire species. You feel this. It's almost like a pressure now. You don't know, but it feels like this mind is growing. You don't realize that outside the other ones are getting closer, but you can feel an intensity increase. You will save us. You will protect us. And it's starting to break up. It's starting to be 1,000 voices again instead of one voice all talking together.
I am tapping. They're starting to increase in noise in my head. Still not crazy.
Crazy. Pete taps back. We have an audience out here.
I start tapping. I am looking at a physical manifestation of these things. Hive mind. If these things are getting closer, then there's far more of them listening in. Look at the coins. It is our job to study and to protect and understand things most don't. We will do our very, very best to help you. I
And
cannot
instead-
give you a hollow promise.
And instead of responding in your head, the shimmering blue disc shows you that image again, but the shield that was there is replaced with the star, the Academy badge that each one of you has on your chest. What was your communicator, your talkie thing, and now is a piece of dead metal sitting on your chest. That's the image it shows as protecting all the creatures on this planet, you now realize, from all that is trying to hurt them.
If we can figure out what's going on, that will be very much true.
So, obviously, as Gyro mentioned, got the stone that she was looking for actually over there. She would have stopped at around that point, and because she would have wandered a little way in her little search initially until that kind of became clear. She's probably a little closer to one of the little bird things saying hi. So around the point where she's realizing they're like, basically all, please protect me, she's gonna have the fun little gesture of giving it a little pet.
As you reach down to pet one, there's a couple poking around outside. They're just kind of watching you. As you approach one of them, one of the shrubberies, a different one, the rock rolls out from underneath it and up against your ankle, just very lightly, just dunk. Pete, it's been a while.
Now that's thinking with portals.
Well, it would certainly explain one way they can get through that wall.
Yeah, that's true. At this point, Pete's not so concerned. Like, he's not worried. Like, before he was worried that, Gyro was going to get woink down another member. So at this point, he's kind of like looking around. He sees that he's now surrounded by bush. No pun intended. And he's now just more like, we went from, we're being bombed to
Bombarded with
we are now
information.
quaint messiahs
Yeah.
in its own
yeah.
way. The
Quaint
trill,
Messiah. That sounds. Does that not sound like an indie band? Oh man.
right? I used to open for Quaint Messiah in the 90s.
I did vegan humor. So
It's really dry.
yeah.
Sorry.
No meat on the bones.
Don't
All the jokes are
don't
really
worry
there.
there, Bison. Your reference was very quaint.
But yeah, at this point, he's more taking in his surroundings. Every once in a while, he's looking up to see if there's any more bombs coming. Keeping an eye on the box. He's definitely keeping an eye on Blocky to see if there's any kind of reaction or anything like that.
You
from
said
what's
you
going on.
you looked up,
Mhm.
and you kind of you're scanning the horizon looking for any more bombings, another care package from the Federation, something, right?
Mhm. Also, yeah, keeping an eye on that care package too.
It's you can see it is falling. There's almost no wind. It is settling. It's right. It's like it's going to land right on the path on the way back to. It looks like it's going to land right by the edge of the crater. Basically, you're going to be able to walk right past it as you leave.
Mm-hmm.
But behind that, in the distance, you see something else you've never seen before. But at least, maybe, give me reason and engineering. Yeah, we'll give you engineering on this. I'm going to give you engineering, but I'm not going to give you focus because it's kind of an abstract twist on something you might know. So, and I'll tell you what you learned.
Okay.
2 successes. Okay. You see green toroids, which is a fancy word for donut shape. In the distance beyond where the parachute is landing, you can't see the ground level. It's like because it's above the crater. But what you can see is that every couple of seconds you see this green, like a donut, but it appears you can see through it. The sun shines right through it. Just go boop, from where you can see way up high in the atmosphere, and then it slows down, drifts to the side slightly, and starts to fall back to the ground. But there's not one of them. There's boom, 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 dozens of them. And each one goes a slightly different direction when it gets to the top. You realize with 2 successes, they're following magnetic field lines. That must be the pole of the planet. And they're coming in, getting caught up in that magnetic, riding it to the top, getting off, and falling down. And unless there's an infinite number of them, they appear to be cycling.
Okay, so oh crap. I'm getting a picture in my head for my science textbook from like grade 10. And it has to do with weather, and I'm trying to remember what that's supposed to do, and also magnetic fields. So
I'm never going to use this information when I'm older.
Right? And of course my brain's like, oh, hey, by the way, remember this picture? It looks exactly the same. I'm going to tell you what it is? No.
Well,
Um,
you wait to see how simple I'm going. You're pondering magnetic principles.
Do
I'm
you,
an engineer. I'm always thinking.
Do
more
you
than I
mention
should
it
be.
to Gyro's still got their head in the I will phrase this very carefully, still has their head in and is conversing inside the shrubbery. Whew. That's just a landmine now.
Yeah, no kidding.
The other 2 of you are outside, so there is so yeah, Sky, if you follow Pete's
Yeah, I kind of pointed out,
yeah.
just sort of like, hey, that looks kind of nifty.
Well, she would have noticed, but she's treading on tight diplomatic grounds because she did kind of roll the rock
Yep.
into one of their little domains.
Yep.
So what she's going to do with that is notice how this generally went. She had a nice round object. She passed it to the bush, and the bush passed it back.
A different
Doesn't that
bush
sound like-
passed it back.
Yes,
Yes.
but she was still passed back the ball.
The same rock, yes.
So whichever one is near her, she's going to just nudge the rock a little towards them to pass the ball back, just to whatever one is nearby. It will stop before them, but she's
So you-
basically passing the ball back. So this is a game.
Yes.
She is
Yep.
playing with her hosts.
Yep. So you roll the ball over near another one of these shrubberies.
Yep.
It changes its direction. You can see it's very, very slowly moving towards
Well,
the ball.
no. Now it's just push towards one of the little bird-like ones that are
Oh,
near
the birds
her.
itself?
Yeah.
The quaints themselves? Oh, if you push it towards one of them, they run away.
But if you push it towards the ball, the
If you
holes,
push towards one of the
holes react.
bushes, the bush moves towards it like the bush is going to receive or play fetch.
That's probably where she would go next.
Yep.
And it might be that while pondering the idea, she's also following, what Pete's doing at the time. But
Mhm.
Yep.
she's trying to build diplomatic relations so
Absolutely,
that
you bet. And if you start playing catch with the shrubbery, you find it's interesting because every time you push it into one bush, it comes out of another bush and back to you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 24-hour long one game of hockey.
Well,
Combined
have
with
to
that
think
scene
how
in
much
all the
fun-
old movies with all the doors in the hallway and the chase scene.
Yeah.
if you're thinking sports, realize how much
I was
this.
just like, "Where's the Benny Hill when you need it?"
Yeah.
If you think about it, if you were to play sports with these bushes, how much can you cheat? Oh, I passed to this bush, which shoots in the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
depends.
just
If
warp
only you
the
could
depth.
predict it. If only you could predict it.
So, Gyro, you're inside still, talking to the quaints. Or the quaint, pardon me, single Q.
I'm going to look. I'm going to look at them because I don't know what's going on with the others. I don't know if anyone's communicating with me about anything else.
Mm.
Well, considering we're either staring at the sky or playing with birds, I don't think you're getting tapped out.
We're not going to hurt you. We were going to try our very best to help all those who are on this planet. All I can say is do your usual stuff, stay safe. And if you need help, just let us know somehow.
If you need help,
I'm
let
good.
us know somehow.
Have one of these bushes nudge my leg or something. I'm gonna start trying to back out.
You start backing out and you hear it again. The first time it sounded like maybe it was just mimicking you. But this time the tone changes. It is telling you. If you need help, just ask.
I'll take that into
Is this
consideration.
audible at this point then?
This is all just in Gyro's head.
Okay.
Joe's going to pull back. Their hair's probably really crazy right now,
And when you
and
pull your head
they've
out
probably
of that
lost their
bush,
hair tie.
Yeah, your chignon is effed. But when you pull it, it's like almost like taking off a wetsuit. It's kind of as you come out of the bush. It didn't feel
Yeah.
like that going in, but it's like that connection snaps shut, and you realize out here you have zero connection. Your head has to be inside.
Joe's going to fix up their hair. They don't have a hair tie anymore.
Nope.
Turn to the others. Okay. How about we get going? If they need our help, or if we need their help, they might nudge our legs with the shrubbery.
The bush nudges your leg. Gyro.
You know that look people get where it's like everything's fine, something explodes, and they're like, oh.
You look down and one of the little leaves is kind of curled up and it's holding a little piece of vine. It's exactly the same dimensions as your hair tie was.
Ah.
I'm going to carefully take it and pat the bush like, thank you.
It pushes back against you like a cat.
I want a pet shrub now. Can I have a pet shrub?
Hey, I've got a box.
I was gonna ask earlier when we
Yes.
were coming out of all that, like seeing all the destruction. I was gonna ask if there was like something shaped like a cat or a bunny out
There-
there, like if there was
yeah.
a creature out here. But that moment's already passed, and I think Gyro prefers the shrubbery over that.
Well, some of us have been making friends too, and just
Yeah, so-
more, you know.
Yeah, you look over and you're on the bright side. Your con officer seems slightly less falling apart at the moment. They do appear to be playing catch with a series of shrubberies.
Pete's like,
Your engineer is what? What is your engineer
Um,
doing?
well, Pete's first comment was, "So, how was your date?"
As she's
Gyro's now-
fixing her hair, and somebody went, "Hey, here's your hair."
Gyro's putting their hair up. All right, so what have you guys learned while I was talking to Quaints? Sorry, the Quaint,
The
as they're
quaint.
called.
Well, Pete just sort of at this point he's got a stick that he's pointing things
Yep.
with because I am doing this with a fork and I can't help it.
Yeah.
So he's like, so if we head over there, that's gonna be where our package landed. And then there's whatever the heck's going over there, and he points to the Flying Donuts.
In
he's like,
roughly
"It's
the same
magnetic."
direction,
That-
and
that
for
sounds like a
narrative
pretzel.
reasons, also roughly the same direction as the beacon, the next
Yeah.
place you guys have to go.
Yeah, that sounds
Because
like
it's a
pretzel band,
10-week
right?
season, and we're not spending 4 weeks walking across an empty plane.
Yeah, so he just sort of points out what he's noticed so far, and that the everything seems to be in the same direction. And I was like, I don't know if that's saying anything or not, but I think we seem to be on the right track.
Seems so. Let's head out.
I've been working on making sure to make friends with the locals,
Mhm.
especially at your prompting. If they've got a network like this is probably like one of the biggest resources we've got left. So that's going to be pretty useful. Hey, if you think about it, if we ask nicely, do you think they'll bring food through their little portal network and bring it to the embankment and we could have some real proper food brought over to them?
I am gonna calmly point towards where the parachute was. What do you think might be in that container?
Yeah.
Food, water, maybe some better supplies
I
that
think
don't
that might be
require
what they
technology.
Yeah,
I
it would
think
be
that's what they
survival
might
gears,
have
yeah.
tried, but I've learned that the stuff that people try to drop on this planet don't seem to be that reliable. So
Because that's not Federation.
Well, that first
No.
one was an attack. There is no question about that. And the second one was a Federation care package. It's a
no,
survival.
in
a
my
survival
case, I'm
pack, but-
referring to like
Yeah.
the people that try to land on this planet. That doesn't go very well.
Yeah, the thing
So-
is though, is the Federation does understand what a frontier package looks like. Like,
Yeah.
there is an entire episode in Deep Space Nine where it's Odo and Quark stuck on a planet. Those two hate each other,
Yeah, great episode.
and
Yes,
Very
but can you
character
imagine
development.
how
one of my
much
favorites.
Yeah.
any kind of sustained processing for any food that was dropped would have gone through an electrical surge and then
Oh, yeah.
absolutely tore itself apart, and then that whole thing is garbage.
Yeah, well, this one did the old spaceship thing with the heat shield and then the tiny parachute and then the bigger parachute.
Yeah, this
It
was
actually
a
works.
hard
The physics actually works. As you're having this conversation, though, Sky, you feel a thump against your ankle.
Is it the rock again?
You look down, and it is the rock. But this time, there's something or someone has taken some mud and made 2 dots, and then below it, an upside down, like a frowny face.
I have a pet rock.
You look down, and as the mud dries, It dries into the color of your eyes.
Oh God.
That's not foreboding at all.
Gyro, you're in charge. You said you were heading out. Is this the point you were choosing to head out?
I am heading towards where the care package is.
Absolutely. You head in that direction. As the three of you get to the crest of this crater and look out across the open plains, you can see the row of devastation that these explosions had all the way across the desert. You can tell from the direction the survivors are safe. They're over to one side. There has not been a repeat of this attack. You can see from here where there's a cloud of purple smoke rising in the distance, and that's the universal sign of a rescue pack, or not rescue package, but like a survival pack. They use purple because it shows up against pretty much any colored sky. So you can see where your rescue pack is.
I'm sorry. I pointed that out because my color is purple and I am sky.
Yep. And as you, speaking of sky and colors, now that you're up on the flats, you can see these toroids in the distance. And there's one thing you notice that's different. They come back down to the ground as you saw before, but you couldn't see the last little bit because of the curvature of this planet, because planets are round. Now you can see, at least close to the ground. They get very, very pale and move very slowly. And they slowly drift in, and then boom, they get sucked up again. And as they do, they brighten as they climb.
Okay.
And they're almost impossibly bright at the top. When they kick to the side, they start to drop, and as they drop, they fade.
Pretzel.
There's thousands of them. It's like this endless along all the magnetic field lines. Like, you know, in school where you put the magnet under the piece of paper and put the iron filings on it, you saw the lines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, but in 3D and straight up.
So, what do you think that could be like a defensive system that's gone on and it's not working over time?
Do these things
It is a
appear to be
possibility.
alive, or is it one of those it's way too far to even tell?
Getting closer would make it easier. You can try from here, but it's going to require an awful lot of successes.
Okay. Well, it's on the way to the care package.
Actually, you've got a trill, so you're allowed once per session to go, I'm an expert. So are you an expert?
We could say that, Christ's sakes.
You got like 22 seconds, you know, or you got 22
Yeah.
minutes left in the session. You might as well use it.
Yeah, right. So yeah, Christ's sakes used to be really big into electromagnetic animals. Sure.
Animals?
Go with that.
You friggin' nailed it. That is exactly what this is. These are creatures
Xenobiology,
created
yeah.
entirely of electromagnetic fields that are feeding on the magnetic polar energy of this planet. Their actions seem to be on purpose. And in fact, while you watch, you see one of them doesn't leave the loop. It stays on the center beam and just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing and getting smaller and smaller and smaller until you almost can't see it. And then there's just a little flash of green light.
So it either ate too much and died, or ate too much and died, or it
Isn't a green flash also what happens with a hyperspace jump?
green flash is an aurora borealis. That's electromagnetic against the atmosphere. It hit the ionosphere and poofed.
Yeah, it looks for all the world like it chose, because these other ones are choosing to peel off, apparently. They are definitely alive. This one chose to stay on the beam and somehow paid.
Got too
It
greedy.
looks for all the world like it blew up for doing that.
Hmm.
And Pete, engineer, it would have, the longer it stayed on that central shaft of magnetic energy, the more energy it would have taken in. If it is
That's still less than we're
designed
talking.
if it is designed to store electromagnetic energy, it may very well have overcharged itself.
I still like we're talking about Aurora Borealis.
Yep.
I mean-
right
Yeah,
there,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pete mentions all of this, and especially makes mention of the electromagnetic fields, because that's been like the running theme on this planet.
Mhm.
And like, so those floaty donut guys over there, they're feeding off the electromagnetic fields. I don't know what his buddy, as you know, the guy flows up. I don't
Yeah.
know what his deal was, but
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of jellyfish on my end.
Yep.
Just lots and
Yeah.
lots of
Yeah,
jellyfish.
think of like a halfway between a donut and a jellyfish. That just, and technically they're spinning as they go up. They're like a donut with the skin spinning all the way up.
Pattern would still make you think of a pretzel instead of a donut.
But they're round.
It honestly wouldn't matter how you describe it. Jellyfish don't have brains. They're stupid as hell.
Yes, they are.
So this
Are a brain
all
at the same
works
time.
so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the last time you thought something was stupid, let me point to this bush in the corner.
No, that guy exploding up there just proved it. These things are dumb.
Or they have a very singular purpose that can be easily misinterpreted.
That too.
Or
Well, it only
over-
takes you guys a couple of hours to get to the pod, the purple smoke and your pod. It is everything you could hope for, and exactly like Pete said earlier, it's zero tech stuff. So it's cold weather clothes, which it doesn't seem like you're going to need. It's hot weather clothes, which it doesn't seem like you're going to need. It seems to be fairly temperate here. There's a huge amount of water, like physical water, not a reproducer or a replicator to make water. It's physical water. There's energy bars and physical food, again, which would be very, very rare on a spaceship. That was the whole point of the replicators, is that they didn't need to carry stuff. They only had to suck matter out of space and turn it into stuff. But that is all in here. Everything you could possibly imagine. What is not in here? Well, there are phasers in here, but they're as dead as the ones that you're carrying.
Picks one up, starts to like toss it, like to check the weight. You always got to throw something. Like, these things are the type 2s. They kind of like, they're really
Is there a bush around here?
kind of goofy. It's like
Not since you've left the forest, no.
Okay,
There are no bushes out here.
because
we
I
did
would
tell
have
him to
thrown one
stay
into the
safe.
bush.
We did tell him to stay safe.
I told them to continue what they usually do and to be as safe as they can.
Yep.
Which they're already doing just fine.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, restocked, rephased. At least you don't have to worry about food now. You don't have to worry about water. That you've got covered for some time. Someone is still trying to kill you. And you're still not really much closer to figuring out what the hell you need to do here. So,
Other than
do you do?
solve puzzles and talk to animals.
You
Yeah.
to keep heading in the same general direction towards these toroids?
I think we should head towards that secondary site. I mean, I've still got Blocky with me.
It's all in that same general direction.
Oh, also, yeah, the block went through the portal easily.
Yeah, it came out with you guys, no problem at all.
Well, it saved our butts.
But I mean,
Oh,
I
The
think you meant
Federation,
when
if
you
the
came out of
Federation
the-
believed
when you
in
came out of
money,
the
I would have
crater.
handed Pete some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came out of the crater. It did not get stopped by the shield.
Yeah.
And
So
yes,
the-
bandages, all that kind of real medical stuff, slings.
I don't think anybody asked, is the lid still on? Or
You
did it
turn and
die?
look. It is there, but it is. It looks absolutely complete, but it also had absolutely no effect on what went through. You can see, in fact, the projectiles that went through, when they threw up dirt, that dirt actually came out of that pit and then fell back down.
So it didn't even.
It had no effect on this.
Hmm.
He's just like concerning.
I think for Salon's sake, Gyro will grab some of the medical supplies.
Yep.
So when we do find him again, they have stuff.
Absolutely. convinced that
Taking a
you're
lot
going
of
to
the-
find them.
Taking a lot of like any of the generic stuff could even be useful, especially anything that's light. The cloth,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, the winter and summer stuff is useless. No,
Basically,
might
what
find
I'm
totally
saying
different.
is that you guys now, at any point from this point on, you say, I need this, you're basically going to have it.
Mhm.
Because it would have been in that pack. That's basically what that was.
So basically, Pete goes from having a briefcase of tools to having a backpack.
Yep, exactly. And they're much heavier, and they're physical, and none of them have assists.
Yeah.
They're all Imperial, it's old. Oh, geez, I got 4 metric and 4 Imperial. I'm useless. No, you're
Well, I've got a
Canadian.
9mm and a number 6. I need a 7.
So Sky's gonna need a lot of time mucking with whatever she's gonna have for a backpack because
Yeah.
it's designed for people with 2 working arms.
I mean, it's not, you just
But
unhook the thing,
he'll
slide
mess
it
with
on,
it.
and put the arm
Yeah,
back
you
on.
just-
But yeah,
Depends
Yeah.
on which shoulder you start with.
Yeah.
And then you strap yourself on, and then you have your free working arm, and that goes into the other
Yes,
sleeve.
but the
and then you
problem
stand
is
up.
it will pull her other shoulder. So still mucking with it.
either way,
It'll
I
work
mean,
eventually.
you can fiddle around. You would have figured it out by this point. You would have
Mhm.
worn one of these before. It's standard issue stuff, so you know the modification, maybe across the chest or something rather than over one shoulder. But either way, you figure that out. You're making things too difficult for yourself. Don't do that. That's my job.
But I was just saying what she's doing through like a while. I was building a lot of excuse for yeah, this is why she's occupied. She's got this.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, if Pete sees that Lonnie's having issues getting
Lonnie is
stuff
Sky.
done, Sky, fuck. If Pete sees Sky having issues with something, I mean, at this point, they've noticed that Sky has half the regular number of operating hands.
Yeah.
So he's not a jerk. He would definitely stop and give you a hand getting the pack on, or
Well, the fun thing is she probably wouldn't look like she's struggling. She would be all, oh, she has to put extra attention to it, but she's gotten used to this.
Oh yeah.
It's been
But you
Uh,
guys,
about a year.
yeah, you guys get this. You get this pack on and start moving forward again. The next sort of stop on the way, as you realize you're getting closer, the signal to your ultimate goal is not getting any stronger as you approach. So it might be your
we have a
tricorders are
signal?
fading even more, or it might be that it's quite a ways in the distance. What you are getting closer to is the pole and these toroids riding up it. The closer you get, you realize how large these things are.
Oh, fun.
They are, at first you're thinking they've got to be 100 meters across, and you realize it's further away than that. Maybe they're 500 meters across. By the time you get to a point where you can see trees on the horizon behind them and really judge them, each one of these rings is about 1 kilometer across. That's 0.6 miles for our American friends.
So before Pete can name them, I'm all like Sky Whale.
Sky wheels.
yeah. At this point, he'd only really call them the donut-y looking things.
What do you call them? Tims. Why? Nobody knows but Canadians, eh?
yeah.
What are they called? They're Timmies.
Quaint
But-
Spoonburst and Timmy's.
As
Thank
you
you,
get
donuts.
closer and see them, you see they're all but invisible at ground level. And they get close and get like sucked up into the vortex. You can see as they rise, they start to glow and gain energy. They're all but solid at the top, just glowing with green light. And you watch from down here, you can see them tilt and choose to ride these magnetic lines off to the sides and back down. They're feeding.
Does the act of their feeding seem to affect the magnetic field at all?
In
And
no
we've had-
way, shape, or form. It seems like the most natural thing out there.
Hmm.
And in fact, you hear, I'm not concerned about that at all. But that, he points in the direction of where you guys are now heading,
Who's he?
is concerning.
Who's he?
Soul on his back as he steps out. from behind a rock nearby. And you can see he's somehow, somewhere, he's turned the bandages in his kit into like he's taken notes on these things. He has been studying these toroids for quite some time. And he looks at the three of you and says, probably comes as no surprise when I tell you they're intelligent.
Oh yeah, hive mind.
No, each one of them is intelligent. Why would you think they were?
By the way, as soon
Solon
as
is
the first
talking about
word
the-
intelligent came up, Sky's already like softly giggling, and it's just been getting worse as people kept
Yeah.
reporting more and more on it. It's like
Gyro? Yeah. So you're laughing. Yeah.
Gyro is just going to hand over the extra pack that has the medical supplies and also survival supplies
Oh,
to
thank you.
Salon. And turn to the others. He's talking about these giant jellyfish. We're talking about quains.
Wait. The quaints are intelligent? That is concerning. And with that,
Really?
we will drop the curtain on tonight because I don't want to put another word in that character's mouth because we know he's coming. The player's coming back next week. So we will take it from there. I'll give you were talking already. I'll give you one last sentence to him.
No, I was just going to say, not really. It's not really that concerning.
And
my
with
character
that-
obviously
yeah.
just laughing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
laughing. Pete, you're looking at these things, like trying to figure out for an engineer, if in my head, I'm doing the math, like how much energy would you gain from riding that magnetic field on an average planet yeah, my brain's going
Yeah,
nuts.
estimating weight.
It's
I mean, I don't know if these
terawatts,
things.
it's terawatts of power each.
Yeah.
And
It's
Solan
like-
just told you they're intelligent. Of all the people in the world you could probably trust to make that call, it's the Vulcan.
Yeah.
Whew. That was fun. You guys hardly covered any ground. That's great.
RP.
No,
Yay.
this is getting intense. I really like this. This is about you guys and your responses to stuff. This is what role playing games are about for me. So thank you so much for coming with me again. Thank you so much for playing Sky for us tonight, Lanny. Thank you. Best of luck on your book publications and upcoming things in the future. We will see you next week. Thank you also to Hellhounds20. Man, thank you for taking time out of your ridiculously busy week to come and play in one of my silly little games. I really appreciate it. I love the energy you bring. I love what we're doing with Gyro, and things are going to get much worse before they get better. That's all I got to say about Gyro. But thank you so much for joining us tonight.
No problem. I would go stir crazy if I didn't do anything.
I still expect things can go downhill for Sky. This
Oh
is a
yes,
nice
things are
reprieve.
going to absolutely get worse before they get better.
We
We've
had
still
a
got
nice
6 episodes
reprieve
left.
this time.
Yes.
It was a reprieve. You get to relax for a bit playing with pets. That
And
won't last.
Bison, thank you as well. I appreciate Pete, this Canadian guy. I grew up with Pete. Pete's like every guy I went to high school with, except slightly smarter.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Pete's actually kind of Rustbar's fault.
Yeah.
When we started playing SnowRunner together, we'd start getting to this like, how stereotypically Canadian trucker can you get?
Right. Yeah.
And just this really overly friendly guy who's just taking down the road, getting these logs out to the boys in the mill.
Yeah.
Just going up for a rip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
that's how
thank you
Pete
so much
happened.
for bringing that character to this game. I appreciate it a lot.
He's
Good fun. Nice little bit of lightness every now and then, which is really nice in a campaign this dark. And then the 2 thank yous that are left. Thank you so much to the fine people in chat. I saw some of you trickled in sort of a little later on. I hope we didn't confuse you too much. It looks to me like you got it. The Shrub Guardians, the Guards of the Quaint, kind of, yeah. You'll figure it out as they interact with them a little more. And then thank you to all the people in the future watching this on YouTube. You're not many, but you're consistent. Pretty much everything we put up on YouTube gets right around the same number of views. So we've got like 10 people that go to YouTube and watch it. So thank you to all 10 of those people. The rest of them are watching it on VOD because, man, our numbers there are, they're not like they should be. So people show up for the live show, which is really cool. And a lot of people show up over the next week and watch the VOD. It's very strange, but I'll take it. Because as long as we're sharing joy, we're doing the right thing.
Mhm.
And yes, that brings us to the big close, the big finish, the drum roll. As always,
Be nice
till
to
next
each other.
time, please be nice to each other. Good night.
Stay safe.